Oh, Jagadishwara. We've got some people from Cowboys from Alberta. We have, oh yes, Curtis is one of them. We got some people from, we have some people from Hogtown, Gunam. Okay, Toronto used to be called Hogtown, by the way, just want to let you know. Vasanta, you're from Florida, right? Arjuna, I think Arjuna is a gringo or something like that. And then we've got Andy from Cleveland as well. Ohio is on the map. And Rasaraj, from Brampton. Yeah. And Ralph is joining us. He's from North Toronto. So that's great. And that's it for the time being. So let us get started then. Oh yeah, and we have Mocha Lilo. She's from a place called Etobicoke or Etobicoke. I'll never know which is it. It's one of the branches. Is it Etobicoke or Etobicoke? You hear both. Okay, you're muted, so can't tell. But anyway.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, is Etobicoke.
Etobicoke, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure people do take Coke over there, like. Okay, and then we've got the alligators. Hare Krishna, Nama Om Vishnavadaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much. And let us go to page 1 in the Bhagavad Gita at the introduction. Yes, and it's right there on the screen for you. And repeat after me. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
And my spiritual master opened my eyes.
Spiritual master.
With the torch of knowledge.
With the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto him.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto him.
Okay, so tell us what shloka we're on, please.
10:10.
10:10. Okay, so another very important shloka for us today, 10:10. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayantate. Translation. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And Vaishnavi, do you want to appoint someone to read to us?
Yeah. Curtis, are you there? Can you read?
Yep.
Curtis.
In this verse, the word buddhi yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of buddhi yoga. Now, buddhi yoga is explained. Buddhi yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and take fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called buddhi yoga. In other words, buddhi yoga is the process by which one gets out of entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this, therefore the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. one should know that the goal is Krishna. And when the goal is assigned, then the path is slow but progressively transversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved.
Jai, thank you very much. We'll just dwell on this for a minute. Thank you for that beautiful reading. This is the first time that I can recall in the Gita where our form of yoga is entitled as Buddhi Yoga, which when you translate Buddhi refers to like real intelligence, being smart about your yoga. Let's go back to the definition of yoga as it stands on its own. Yoga means to link up with the Supreme, that which we are connected to at one time has been, let's say, honored social distancing. And now we are, through the practice of Buddhi, the intelligent form of yoga, the yoga of love, we're now making steps to getting closer and being in union with Krishna through service. It is mentioned here in the purport that Krishna is the goal. That's also in the 15th chapter, 15. Vedanta Krid Ved Vedi Vacham. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to get to Krishna. Another phrase that Prabhupada uses a lot from the Bhagavatam, Nati vidu swargagatim Vishnum. The goal of life is to approach Krishna, or Vishnu as we say sometimes. That is the objective. It's not to become a scholar. It's not to become, a pundit, because if we apply buddhi or intelligence, this is not the goal. Krishna's not interested in how bright you are, intelligent you are. He's interested in how much love you can give, how much you can surrender. And love is a deep thing. He's also not interested in your, other things that pundits have to offer, like say, for instance, rituals, let's say all kinds of samskars. He's also not interested in your studies as a Vedantist. It doesn't, or let's say you're a tapasvi. That means you perform lots of tapasya. Or if you're a vairagi, these are all terms that I'm sure you've come up with. Vairagi means that you become very detached from the world, as sometimes yogis do succeed at. No, Krishna's really interested, just come back to me, and all these other levels can be helpful, but they are not an end in themselves. So the end is Krishna. That's the point. Why is this verse so important to us? It says right here, when you approach Krishna, he'll give you the intelligence that you need. He'll give you discernment. He'll give you the practical goods for knowing how to get close to him. Sometimes devotees can get very handicapped and sometimes not knowing what to do about a certain circumstance. They get all flustered and say, what scripture, what book, what verse, what phrase is going to give me the guideline I need? Well, for all the studies that you've done, you should be able to make practical application and not get too hung up and tied down by so many rules and regulations and what we call niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means that you're following many rules and regulations, and if you slip up on one, then sometimes we see people, oh, I got this bad reaction because of, I messed up on the Ekadashi or this or that. But I wouldn't let those things bother you too much. It didn't bother Prabhupada. He was such a practical person. That was what was so nice about him. So move along, move forward in life, and do everything with the execution of love. And Krishna will give you the brain substance, let's say, the discretions that are needed to help you to advance further. he'll someone's trying to call me. Okay, so any questions anybody has in regards to that, based on the first paragraph of the purport? Any? Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Any comments at all?
Just a tiny little thing that I remember Prabhupada said, that Krishna is not known as Yoga Vatsalaha, is not known as Gyani Vatsalaha, he's known as Bhakta Vatsala.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
Yes, exactly. Bhakta Vatsala means that he's very dear to the devotees. What registers with him is sincerity, try to be real, be genuine, that's the idea. And Rupa Goswami and the Nectar of Devotion, or Prabhupada's version of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, puts a little emphasis on sincerity, just being very genuine about how you approach everything. And be very real. Don't be a phony. Don't be a fake. Let it be, very much, act from the heart. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? So let's go on to the next paragraph. Vaishnavi, would you like to?
When a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he is acting in Karma Yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in Jnana Yoga. But when he knows the goal and sees Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in Bhakti Yoga or Bhuti Yoga, which is the complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life.
Yes, thank you very much. So Krishna is comfortable with our approaching him. And it's just like, if you're like in a big house or a big palace or something like that, you can meet him in the foyer and he's okay because that's where he'll greet you. Maybe you'll go to the kitchen and that's also okay. But the kitchen means work has to be done. And you can go through the whole house and said, which one of the rooms, les chambres, will he be most, let's say, comfortable with you? And the answer is most probably the living room, or the place where you can be so relaxed and you can just communicate with him like anything. So all these other forms of yoga, karma yoga, which we talked about very extensively, and jnana yoga also, have their place. But the real thing, the real deal is to come to Krishna through love, the room of love. That's where he's most comfortable, and that's where the devotee is most comfortable with him. All these other approaches are stepping stones, and they bring us to the point of bhakti. Sometimes we call this a yoga ladder. To get to the top of the ladder, you take this step, that step, that step. And finally, when you get to the top, you've made it. Yes. Okay, so can someone else give us the next paragraph then? How about Rasaraj? I haven't heard from him for a long time. Can I suggest that?
Yes, Maharaj.
Go ahead, Rasaraj. Okay, if he's not available, anybody else? Go ahead.
Sankalpa, you want to read?
I'm available, Maharaj. Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kind of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him.
Jai. Beautiful stuff. Good. Yeah, so the core principle here is to do something for Krishna. And as Prabhupada would say, he was talking about to his American devotees, followers, he was saying, we always do something wonderful. We'll do something wonderful for Krishna. He'd raise his voice and try to really make the point, get the point across. Best examples of this is the gopis in Vrindavan. They're just always thinking about what to do for Krishna. What can we do for him? Their immersion in him was very, very strong. And in fact, all the Brijvasis, they'd always be just thinking about Krishna. The boys are playing, oh, I can't wait to play with that boy. The girls are thinking about what kind of nice garlands can we make. And anybody in the village was coming up with, what can we do to protect Krishna, to see that he's safe? Every day, some big asura is coming to try to destroy our boy. And what can we do to defend him? And things like, of course, Krishna needs no defense, but still that's the sentiment. It's very strong. And so it's that absorption is where we'd like to be. How can I please Krishna? Chat. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, Maharaj, I have a question. The last sentence, Prabhupada says, if a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service. So is he referring to if somebody is not maybe philosophical enough to understand, all of scripture or the details or the, intricate?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that point up, because what I believe Prabhupada is saying here, somebody might be very simple. And yet if their approach is sincere from the heart, and again, what we described, really genuine, real, then Krishna will give him a chance, right? Again, put him into situations where it makes it easy for him to make progress. Yeah. So just putting a little plug in for people of simple natures. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to. I mean, it's good to have some philosophical backbone, but it's not a prerequisite for becoming a close associate of the Lord. So that is the point. Sincere. Just, I mean, when we go through this purport, I mean, I don't like to highlight. I know some people, they put a highlighter to things that mean a lot to them. I wouldn't dare do that to my book. But if you are going to do that, or you do that, then I would just put a nice little yellow strip across on the word sincere. And this is the key ingredient to making progress. So from that sentence, I'm just going to reread it. Thank you for bringing that last line to our attention. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of the devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him. So I was just, projecting more of those key words that are in a sentence. So where do you want to put your emphasis in a sentence? Look up these things. The first word in that line also, or that paragraph rather. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master, may be attached to a spiritual organization. But if he, she is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives instruction so that he may ultimately come without difficulty. Direction comes from within. Maybe we can say, make a case for Paramatma, God in the heart. Okay, which is pretty, that's a strong emphasis there. Krishna's acting in the heart too, from within, so that we can do something without intelligently. That which is within oftentimes wants to project itself out. So if you have real strong, genuine bhakti, it will shine through. Just like I met some devotees, they're really shy. That's their disposition. But they're very loud with their devotional sentiments. You know, just because by their behavior, their demeanor, they may not vocalize loudly they not be loud people, but their volume that comes out of their actions is what really really moves individuals. Yes. Nitai Priya's got her hand up. She's raising her palm and blessing everybody. Yes, Nita.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. In regards to the simplicity of mind that you speak about, sometimes I wonder, like, what does that intelligence mean? Like, does not have the intelligence? Because I think of myself, and I might not be technically a simple-minded person in that sense, but I do feel I lack the intelligence to be able to cling to the things that I need to cling to with more of a fervent nature and in longer duration. So therefore, I feel like I lack that intelligence, but nevertheless, somehow I don't want to say I'm sincere, but I don't feel insincere, that's for sure. So does that verse also apply to those of us in the material world in this Kali Yuga that are kind of maybe just, mean well and want to do it, but somehow lack that intelligence to cling more fervently, more often?
Okay, would you like to just paraphrase that in real simple terms, just for the benefit of it?
So the verse was saying, or the purport was saying, for those who are, more, you were saying basically it means for those who are more simple-minded or those who lack the intelligence, if there's sincerity, then Krishna will, direct them from within. And I know for myself and some other devotees, we feel like we're sincere, but somehow our intelligence isn't strong enough to make us hold on to Krishna consciousness and the activities within Krishna consciousness with as much intensity as needed. So I'm wondering if that lack of intelligence is also helped out, or does that mean that there's an insincerity there, or?
Well, when we demonstrate genuineness, this is what registers in the most strong way with Krishna. That's what he really likes to see when you're sincere. And that's what he responds to. So even if we have some disability in some area, he's going to make sure that he gets in there, his super soul, he's going to just drive you forward and make the arrangements. When you submit to Krishna, he's personally getting involved with you. So the beautiful thing about the studying Krishna's work, how he plays his hand and everything, is just to see how he helps you. How is Krishna playing a role in this circumstance or that circumstance? It's quite magical, but he does act, and it's good to explore to see what he does. Like for me yesterday, I was, So how can I get to the rest of it? How can I make it to the temple, just with these crutches? Most people don't walk like 3-4 kilometers of crutches, I didn't really think about it until after. But when I got a little bit tired and said, Krishna, can you please arrange something? And bang, I heard that rap on the window. And there was my friend Sheila. Hey, I'll take you there. So let those little instances register with you and stack them up like little miracles. And then you'll see how Krishna's really working for you. All you have to do is show some sincerity, and that's all there is. Prabhupada also makes a point about having a spiritual master and also, having a spiritual organization. That means you have Sangha on 2 levels, and they're there to help. But if you can't have that full dependency on those 2 areas, then the Lord says he acts from within. He'll give you direction. He'll do it for you. So this is again a good case for studying the Paramatma, God in the heart, the witness and all, the overseer, the over-permitter. But this verse is very important, just like the one we looked at last week. And it's also one of the reason why it's one of the Chatushlokis. It's talking about the Sambandha, Havide, and Prayojan, which like the real deeper relationship connection that you have with the Lord. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, okay?
Yes, Maharaj, it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay. And anybody else have some thoughts on this verse before we flip the page? I heard somebody.
I have a question, Maharaj. Yes,
Yes.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
So this first part of this paragraph, we covered like we lack intelligence, we are simple-minded. So the second, I was just coming to the second part of the paragraph. We lack if somebody lacks the intelligence and lacks the health also, and suppose he's say handicapped or he's just able to do chanting and he's eating prasadam, and also he is not intelligent. So will that be still considered a service?
Absolutely. And most of you know our dear God brother Dharma Prana Prabhu, and he's been handicapped since the early 80s. He can't speak a full sentence, and he can only put out a phrase. And when it comes to chanting japa, like people will tell me, is he chanting Hare Krishna properly? Because we make a big deal about saying the words properly. The pronunciation has to be spot on. But this particular devotee, because of his handicap, he just can't do it. He cannot do it. So should we conclude that he's not dear to Krishna? I would just say that whatever he does, he's approaching it with sincere feeling. And Krishna accepts that sentiment. I mean, Lokanath Swami, he's written a few books. Prabhupada's given him a lot of guidance. And the one he talks about Sanskrit pronunciation. That's a good book. And then he kind of, in a gentle way, rips apart everybody who doesn't pronounce it, properly. Like, I think it was like an Anglophone who won't even be able to say Hare Krishna properly. It'll be something Hare Krishna. And then he criticizes French accents. This is not to put people down. He does it in a very nice way. And he says, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You can't even roll the R's, And then he attacks the Polish people. And then he also attacks the Bengalis, because they don't have the Sanskrit down. They've got their their approach. And it doesn't mean he's going to attack Prabhupada either. But really what comes through is the sincerity that Krishna is looking for. He's looking for, are you real with what you are projecting forward? Or is it coming from the heart? That's really what matters for Krishna. That's really what counts. So let it be from here. And we always have some rules and regulations to kind of guide us a little bit and keep us, moving ahead so we don't get distracted. But move with sincerity, move with love. Just to reiterate the point after we leave, some of you might just look online to see what does sincere mean. So look at that verse, look at that word for its definition. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Let's give another example. It's in the Nectar of Devotion. The South Indian Brahmin, he was doing all kinds of puja, and he was just making believe. He didn't have anything. He had dreamed up, conjured up that he has brought in Krishna, and he's dressing them, decorating them, and bathing them, giving abhishek, and doing all the rituals, just like in his mind, in his head, and even was, let's say, imagining himself cooking some kheer for the deity, And then when in his mind, he wanted to see that the kheer was cool enough to be offered to the Lord. And he put his finger by the pot, by the pot, and it was super hot. And he burned his finger. And when he burned his finger, Lord Narayan was up there in the sky, looking down, laughing, how amazing this is. So God is reciprocating with him because he's so genuine, so sincere. And then even though it was imaginary paraphernalia, he got a reaction, oh, my finger's burnt. How could that be? He was so immersed in his seva, his service, that all these, let's say, out of the ordinary consequences were taking place. So just have to be just very sincere in your approach. Anything else?
Maharaj, this is
So,
just a
Maharaj,
little. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. So Maharaj, just a small another question based on this. So we struggle getting the flowers to offer, so I just offer in the mind. So is that okay? I mean,
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, if it's the middle of January in Canada, you might not find a flower blooming. So in your mind, yeah, sure, why not? It's okay. And when I visit Sharnagadi farm, they don't have flowers for most of the winter. They're way out, and they're an hour and a half drive from the nearest city, nearest florists. So what do? They take something from the pine tree, or the spruce tree, just offer a little bit of green. It has such an effervescent scent to it. And they offer that to the Lord. It's available. There's so much of it. And so they just use that particular approach. So a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, and I will accept it. When you offer with love. One of the key verses we should be looking at in the previous chapter, Patrang Pushpam Palam Tuyam Yo Me Bhakti Prayachati Tadaham Bhakti Uparitam Ashnami Prayatatmanaha. Offer to me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, and I will accept it. It's not the object, it's not the object necessarily, it's the love that he's taking in. Krishna is the God of love. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, and then we had somebody else, right? Some called, what was it you were?
Just a little comment. Just considering that the bodies we have and the minds we have, they are very temporary and full of faults and yeah. So why would Krishna take that into consideration when thinking who is the real devotee to me? Like somebody maybe can't pronounce the mantra properly, or somebody is not so intellectual. So these are all temporary things that come with the temporary body. So the devotion is really just in the heart. So
Yes.
it's actually dealing with us heart to heart, not body to body.
Yes, good point. And you're reminding me of the other story of the person who just couldn't read. He was illiterate, and he had a book of the Bhagavad Gita in his hand. And some people were laughing at him, saying, he's got the book upside down. He's thinking he's reading the Gita. And yet while that was happening, he was crying. Not because people were teasing him, but he was crying because here we've got Krishna, and he's God himself. And he's playing the role of the chariot driver to his servant Arjuna. So the Supreme Person is playing a subservient role to his devotee. And this sentiment really captured this particular illiterate person to the point where he was in tears. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard about this fellow, and he just, well, more than patted him on the back. He was just saying, you have got genuine love. This is real love. So again, if you have some handicaps of some sort, physical or intellectual, or let's say you were inhibited by some restrictions, like not being able to read, but if you have a real love inside from the heart, this is what Krishna's really pleased with. On the other hand, you have somebody who's recited the whole Bhagavad Gita, they know it all, and they've got all the let's say they're an excellent Brahmin in terms of being able to execute any kind of ritual, but if the love is missing, then, if he just takes it, well, this is my job, this is my career, that's it. Then where do you find something genuine in that? So the theme here is, let's be genuine. If you're genuine, then you're in. You're in when you're genuine. Let's put it that way. Anything else?
Maharaj, how can we monitor our sincerity / genuineness? Like, how can we be self-aware enough to know if we're genuine or not? Does it matter?
Sometimes it's hard for you to assess yourself, and that's why it's always good to have some people around you who are progressing like you are. Or that's one of the reasons for having a guru. The guru will monitor things and say, you are doing very well. Just like when I went through my physio, last week and yesterday. So these are like, they could have gone this, very good, very good. But they didn't do that because they were not folks from the Bharat. But they were monitoring. And so it's good to get the assessment, let's say you get your hair done, so what do you think? You're going to ask me this, what do you think? What do you think? Because you don't have the eye to see for yourself. You can look at yourself in the mirror and think, I think I like it, but you want to get some other opinions, right? So maybe you want to get the opinion of someone who's, let's say, a little bit, let's say, advanced in stylishness, for instance. And so that's what guru is all about. And if not a guru, they'll be like a peer, someone who's sort of on par with you, but who can see outside the box a little bit. You know, because we are blind to ourselves. We have blind spots. It's like when you're driving, you always have a blind spot. So that's why you need someone outside. You know, how many times that I'm looking at Gaurachandra and looking at Vani Priya, and they're helping each other constantly. Reminding each other about little imperfections here and there. Because it's a hard thing for you to do. So it's very hard to have self-assessment, you know. I can appreciate self-help, motivational books and all that. That's okay, but you do have to have somebody finally in the end will measure and gauge whether, you know, what you're doing is really genuine or not. So we need that other person there, third party, perhaps.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, good. Any other points? I mean, we don't have to rush with this verse, you know, we don't need to flip the page to go to text 11. But if there's anything else that's haunting you, Bruce, in regards to this, now's the time.
Maharaj, I have a comment.
Thank you.
Somehow in that verse, that 10:10 verse, somehow for me what stands out of that verse is Priti Purvaga, with love.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Did you want to say something about it?
No, I was just, that's what that sticks by mind when I read that word.
You want to put your highlighter on that one.
Yeah.
Right? You put your yellow stroke right across it. Yeah, it translates as, you know, anytime you say priti, it means, it does mean something kind of beautiful, you know, just like the word pretty, pretty woman. Da, 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 da. So, Priti Purvakam. In loving ecstasy, yeah. When we do things in loving ecstasy, then the Lord reciprocates by giving you all the goods that you need to progress with. Yeah. So Priti Purvakam, try to go for that ecstasy, but you can't push it artificially. Again, just the sincerity has to be established. Approach the Lord with sincere feelings. Here's a verse from the Bhagavatam. Janmaishwarya Shruta Shrivya Edamana Badapuman Nevara di Abidatam Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. Okay, let's say that if someone is born with a lot of physical beauty, there's a tendency to be very proud about it. Or a lot of physical strength, there's a tendency to really get noticed and sometimes goes to your head. Or you're born into like a royalty or your famous family, that's another thing. You know, any of these like four assets, you have physical beauty, strength, being super intelligent, or, you know, being famous. These can be handicaps on the devotional path. It's hard to establish sincerity because you're generally so smothered with this idea, you're the body. So for when we say Bhakta Vatsala, Krishna is interested in the Bhakta, you know, who approaches the Lord with sincere feeling. And it's hard to drum up, it's hard to stir up sincerity when you've got these material handicaps, what some people call assets, become liabilities sometimes spiritually. Okay, yeah, so thank you for highlighting that. Priti Purvakam, and loving ecstasy. If you approach me with loving ecstasy, then I give you further intelligence. Whatever's missing, whatever's not there now, I'll fill it up for you. I'll fill in the gap. That's what Krishna does. Okay. Anything else, Bruce? I think if we get one or two more comments or questions, then, oh, well, maybe we can just go down the road, down the whole group of you, and give me a phrase and tell me what stuck out for you in our discussion today. And if you repeat something that someone else has said, that's also okay. So we're asking everyone to answer and just do it with sincerity, that's all. So shall we start with Vaishnavi or Ananta Shesh? I think you already told
For
us.
me, what is like that verse tells me that Krishna has given me a lot of buddhi yoga.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, so for me to get to even close to that verse, because the sincerity and priti purvakam, those two things, I don't know how you can get it unless there's got a grace of from Krishna and the spiritual master and the devotees.
Yes. Yes. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. And let's hear from Vaishnavi.
I'm just hoping to be sincere, Maharaj.
Hoping to be sincere. Okay, that's a beautiful sentiment. Good. And down under is Guru Chandra. What do you have to say?
Yes, the Srila Prabhupada was talking about me when he said that somebody who has a guru, and I have a great guru, and who's attached to a spiritual organization, and I am, but unfortunately I'm less intelligent because I still, after so many years, I cannot grasp anything. It was wonderful. I mean, it gave me a hope that one day Paramatma in my heart will suggest me what to do. And it's so merciful. Prabhupada was so merciful in that statement.
Thank you very much, Haribol. I'd like to clap for everybody, but we'll just not bother. We're silently clapping. Yes, Vani Priya.
I'm just glad that I have you as a guru in my life, and I'm.
Well, just pretend I'm not here, just say something.
No, this is for me, Lord Maharaj. I have no brain. It's the only one thing I can do, shelter to guru.
Well, you may not have a brain, but you were smart enough to, connect with the devotees, and that was a great move that you did. Yeah, good. So we'll go to Vasanta. Oh, she's muted.
What you said, Swami, really struck me, that what we think as assets actually are liabilities, because we end up focusing on ourselves, not outside us, but ourselves, and that takes away and Buddhi Yoga is, it says all that is not important. It's only your heart that you have to feel, understand, or, so that really is, we know this, but when somebody says it to you, it's a revelation. So.
Very nice. Thank you so much. We're going to move over to Curtis. Tell us from this verse in the discussion today, what sort of knocked you out a bit.
I actually have a question. How can we use our buddhi, our discrimination, to be able to, like, say Krishna is talking to us in the heart, but we don't hear it, or our discretion isn't there to hear it? Do we just have to bring in more awareness, or what can we do about that?
Yeah, it's a fine art, isn't it? So your question is centered around how can we get it to register?
Yeah, make sure we hear Krishna.
Yeah, well, I think one thing that you could try to do is try to implement what we call vandanam, just say a prayer, like prayer is like a communication, through a subtle channel. And, just simply say, my dear Lord Krishna, please help for things to register a little more easily for me to comprehend. Please connect with me in some way. And, you'll see, you just try that out. Just try to implement, use one of the nine processes. Talk genuinely. That's what prayer usually is, genuine communication. Yeah, try that out. Okay, and we sung Kalpa. What would you like to say?
You were saying that, or we were all saying that no external attributes will touch Krishna, only sincerity in approaching Krishna from our heart. So that, I think, was a big theme tonight. So that's beautiful. So we want to give our heart to Krishna, not anything external.
Okay, beautiful. And we do have Shashwata there. He's behind the wheel. And I think he's probably taking all kinds of direction from Super Soul. Oh, don't turn right. Don't turn right. Would you like to say something, Shashwata?
Sure. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Yeah, with the sincerity. So like, I think about the times where I do service and things of that nature more out of duty than with the heart. Are those the times where Krishna kind of takes it over and turns it into something special, or, more, I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, I'll just make a quick comment, Shashwata, that even if you do things out of a sense of duty, there's something sincere about that. You're putting a lot of faith in the spiritual process. Let's say
Sure,
if you don't believe in a God in the heart, then you just become like a pure atheist. Everything's according to some physical chemical arrangement. Fine and dandy, but somebody's trying to reach me. You have faith in the process, and therefore, that's a genuine approach, even if you don't feel your heart is fully applied, but your faith is strong, and that will transform into something genuine, spontaneous. In the beginning, we do things just out of sense of duty, but duty can transform into, spontaneity, spontaneous love. Yeah, just stick it out, Shashwata, you'll be okay.
I think it's more to do with just with the grandbaby and working and all that. Sure. It's just, it's just very tired. I feel like I can't get over that. I'm just doing the best I can, but I want to get deeper.
Your time will come, Shashwata. Your time will come.
All right.
But for now, you're in that phase of your life where just have to learn sacrifice, which is a prerequisite for devotion. So look at it like that. It's a build up. So Gunam, what would you like to say? Oh, just a minute. Haribo? Oh, Dwarkanath. No. Yeah, I will come downstairs. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Gunam, do you have something to say? Something that stuck up for you. We only have 3 minutes left to say something. Can you hear me?
He's muted.
Yeah, can you mute it, please? Unmute yourself. Can somebody help him? Okay, well, maybe he'll figure it out after. Okay, Rasaraj, go ahead.
Okay, Hare Krishna Maharaj. So from today's verse, Maharaj, I am always struggling between my health and the amount of service. I'm always trying to balance out which way. So I guess I have to simplify some of the rules, reduce some of the rules, so that I can do this better.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jagadishwar, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Moksha Leela? Moksha Leela?
Yes, Maharaj.
Please.
Yes,
Yes,
Maharaj.
please tell us. Give us something short. We have 2.5 minutes left. And we have a few people to go through. Something
one
that
thing,
stands
Maharaj.
out. Yeah, go ahead.
Something from today's class or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Today's class, today's verse,
Yeah.
purports, everything.
Yeah.
Last
Yes.
hour.
One thing I really like, Maharaj, from today's class, and that is my takeaway, that we shouldn't be fanatic. We try to be sincere and not try to more focus on niyamagraha, but we can focus on the sincerity, and Krishna can take care of it, like pronouncing mantra or doing the vidhi and puja just in this particular way and not that way.
Yeah, you got to pull at your heart.
Yes.
Doctor's trying to call me. Arjuna, go ahead. Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Okay, back to Andy.
Well, Maharaj, today, from today's class, I was just listening and learning more about like not to focus on how intelligent you can be, because I'm going through the disciple course right now, but it's just more or less, like you said, focusing on the day-to-day things, like making sure I'm chanting my rounds nicely, making sure when I do go out to buy flowers, not just when I go visit the temple, but when I'm at home doing arti, just like you said, just being as sincere as possible instead of not less showy, because I'm just here by myself practicing, but you know what I mean? Just keeping it simple,
Right.
To me, it makes it a big deal, if I have exactly 3 incense, that I'm making sure that I'm circumambulating the correct way, that I go right, that I go left, that I'm making sure that I bowed it to Radha Krishna, just keeping it simple.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for that input. Nitai Priya? Okay.
Sorry, I'm here. I had a problem. Yes, so I just feel like the word love was used a lot in this.
Yes.
And I think that the emphasis on that just reminds me for all of us just to follow the love, in this day and age on the internet and amongst devotees and communities. We all hear about, Maharaj was talking last week about gossip and different things on the internet, this person said this and did that, or this philosophy or this faction or whatever, but just follow the love, follow where the love is, and that's in the people you trust and in the your guru and Srila Prabhupada, and just follow the love feelings and don't get all entangled, because that entanglement, I think, will strip us of our sincerity.
Very good, nice points. Great. And we have one last person who didn't have a chance, might like to say something.
Can I say something?
Sí, señor.
Gracias. All I gotta say is, like, I'm very appreciative that I can hear you every week. Even though you guys don't see me, like, it's very nice to talk to everybody. Gorachandas always has my back, and Ananta says they're really awesome. And it's true when Itapriya said that we have to follow the love, because some devotees tend to be fanatical, and it's not good for us, like, as a group, because everybody like sees that everybody's doing something, and then everybody thinks we're all the same, and it's unfortunate. But I have a lot to learn, like, and I'm appreciative that like I get a chance to learn every day, and I like that. I like the love that you give to all of us and we all give to ourselves. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Maharaj.
Muchas gracias, monsieur. Senor. All right, so thank you very much. We're gonna all, let's say, bow out right now, and we're gonna see you all next week for another. It'll be the same bat time, same bat station, same cool cat Krishna time. All right, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.